Nice of you to stop by. Where have you been? There's so much going on, Ahmad Hicks. How come you keep hiding from 9 to noon?
I know the last time we were here, we were talking about Gopher women's basketball. You see, they made a run in the WNIT, almost won the championship.
Yeah, and the WNIT. Okay.
Yeah.
God bless everybody involved because that must have taken place before this casual women's basketball fan.
Yeah.
And I like basketball. Just, there's only so much time
For sure.
to fit a lot of things in. Nordo and News Du Nord just mentioned, Stanley Cup playoffs. All right. Wild not in it.
No.
I mean, I watched 5 minutes of the 7-6 thing last night in Winnipeg. I'm just not watching a lot of it because I've just always enjoyed the NBA more.
For sure.
And the NBA's on fire. But like when Caitlin Clark started doing what she was doing, and we talked about her the last time you were here.
Yeah.
Mesmerized.
I'm telling you.
Every press conference, every sour veteran being like, we're grown women, can't wait to see you, welcome in, the water's warm.
You love it.
Oh, I ate it up.
Oh, my. It's just...
See, but you've been on it for a while.
But still, the WNBA, I think we're all getting on it now. You see how the feathers are ruffled from the NBA vets right now? WNBA vets talking about, when, the rookies get here, we're going to go after them. You love to hear that because it means that they're threatened. They know that the incoming talent is coming to take their job, so they have to fend them off.
You look at it that way?
I definitely look at it that
way. Like Beckers and Caitlin, Angel Reese, so they're gifted and they're talented.
Yes.
I never really looked at it as threatened. I kind of looked at it as sour.
No, I look at it as threatened because you got to think they're coming to take their jobs. They are the future. They have so much hype coming with them coming out of college right now, where the women in the WNBA are like, oh man, their platform is a little bit bigger. They have a bigger fan base.
Yeah.
Like, maybe coach will be inclined to stick with them over me, who's been here 10 years and maybe only averaging 9 points a game.
Wow.
So you never know.
That's Ahmad Hicks, Fox 9 TV, at Ahmad Hicks TV. If you'd like to follow him on Twitter, as 9 to Noon does. And last time I caught you on TV, and I'm sure you've done stuff since, was when TJ Hawkinson spoke.
Yes, sir.
And then like you and Ian Leonard got together and we're having a good time and stuff.
Yeah.
That was cool, man. You guys were playing fast and loose. But with just to land the plane here on something you said with the WNBA, I hope you're right. And the way I crafted it for you was with how much impact on the WNBA can Caitlin Clark have with 38 of her 40 games nationally televised? Because the hope, obviously, is that it's going to lead casuals, people like me, casual sports fans in that arena or whatever, to watch more, go to more games. That's the key here. If you're convinced that's going to happen,
absolutely.
My question would be why?
Did you not see what's going on around the WNBA and their attendance and their arena sales and things like that? Ticket prices have already doubled.
For non-Caitlin games?
For non-Caitlin games. Some ticket prices have doubled. But for Caitlin games, ticket prices have doubled. They are also moving arenas that only hold like maybe 4,000 to NBA arenas where they hold 20,000 to accommodate Caitlin Clark coming to town. And you have other WNBA franchises trying to now move their teams downtown away from these small arenas. Not to mention, if you go on social media, you see so many W teams opening up their own practice facilities for these young women. And so it's just talking about where they're going. You went from not having their own practice facility a couple of years ago to now having them, and now having double your price in attendance for Caitlin Clark games. It's only going to grow. Angel Reese jersey sold out. Caitlin Clark jersey sold out already. These are just two of the stars that are coming out recently. You still have so many more to come in the next coming years.
Box. That's a good box you just put me in. But it's a box that metaphorically put me 6 feet below in what would be known as a coffin. But the emphasis on now.
Right.
Okay, with you. And yeah, I saw, fanatics like NFL draft and whatever. We've never sold that many draft related.
Right.
Well, that matters because that's money, that's popularity, and money fuels a lot of different things. Sustaining and keeping eyeballs on it and following it and buying tickets and jerseys and memorabilia and stuff like that for like 5 years, that's a key.
I think it's just the beginning right now. I think they're just scratching the surface because the young women coming up, they're more athletic. They have more of a demand to want to see their game. Like South Carolina women just went undefeated. You're going to want to tune in to see Floasia Mawali and Tessa Johnson here from Minnesota continue their careers for the next couple of years. So I think as they continue to have that success, more eyeballs get on the college women's game, it's only going to translate to the WNBA game. I mean, look at how many WNBA players have their own shoes now. 20 years ago, that was not a thing. Now you're talking about Sabrina Ionescu, Breanna Stewart, and Caitlin Clark having
their own shoes.
They have their own signature shoe.
Is it Nike?
Yes. Yeah. And Asia Wilson is possibly going to be the next one to get her own signature shoe. So you're talking about WNBA players having their signature shoes, and some NBA players don't even have that. Yes, they're going to have sustainability.
Well, I'm up here being Mr. Neanderthal, thinking they're still wearing K-Swiss.
No.
All right.
They're wearing Caitlin Clark soon, and Sabrina Ionescu's and Breanna Stewart.
But see, with the and here's another Neanderthal-esque take, with all due respect. Mm-hmm. So I'm watching. I watched probably 6 of the games in the NCAA women's tournament.
Yeah.
From whomever Iowa played, LSU, UConn, then we got South Carolina, right? All 3. Okay, so that, and then like a few others
for sure.
Well, I mean, here's the Neanderthal take, because I know Diana Taurasi had to be doing this back in the Tisha Penichero days.
She was.
Well, I'm talking about bounce passes in the key and spinning the ball to throw somebody open. Are you kidding me with that?
She was really talented back in the day.
I've said this 100 times. I mean, I played basketball for many years, right. and the coaches initially, when you're the youngest of the young, no bounce passes in the key. Don't pick your dribble up on the baseline.
Right.
I mean, those 2 are mandates.
Right.
Well, with feet in the key, Clark is not only throwing 15-foot passes, bouncing them in the key around the feet.
Yeah.
She's spinning the ball to get it to the cutter to throw her open. Masterful.
She, when I was watching her highlights the other day, this came to mind. She reminds me of a kid growing up, teaching themselves to play basketball in the backyards, counting down 3, 2, 1, hitting buzzer beater shots, and then going inside and watching NBA games and watching your favorite player jump up on tables and pump their chest and do all these things and celebrate things that you don't see in the WNBA or in the women's game. And she has that talent now. And she's like, we're in my backyard now. I'm doing everything I was doing growing up, and I'm bringing it to fruition. You get so much joy out of watching Caitlin play, because she plays like a child out there, a really talented child that's just having fun and having her way.
I love her. And I'm really glad that I started watching it, because, again, Neanderthal take here, it's a lot better than I remember it from a team standpoint. And wow, was that great. So, yeah, I will elevate how much I follow it, how much I watch it, stuff like that.
You should.
And that's because of her, because she brought people in.
Yeah.
Question is, how many are going to stay? So I'm with you on that. I would wager your way that it will grow. I don't know if it's going to be exponential. I didn't even know the WNBA had taken a loss every single year since its existence. I didn't know that. I thought, I just assumed all pro sports teams made money. Ahmad Hicks, Fox 9 TV. And, in closing, our mutual friend, Gabe Henderson, I'm sure you know this, you guys talk. He's on the practice squad for the Lynx. He's at their, he practices with the ladies.
I'm not surprised.
2 or 3 times a week.
He didn't tell us that information, but he did tell me he knows somebody that works down at Target Center, so he hoops down there. But
he might be there now.
He didn't disclose that information that he practices with them.
Yep. No, that's terrific. So what do you do Thursday night during the first round of the draft?
Oh, we'll be busy. We'll have a streaming show starting at 3 o'clock on Fox Local. We'll be down at US Bank Stadium. We'll be next to you guys, I'm sure. We'll be watching your stage. We'll be partnered with you guys as well at Fox 9. So we'll be taking you live a little bit, listening to you, giving us a little bit of break. But yeah, we'll be going live at 3 to 4, and then we'll have live reports all through our newscasts at 5 and 6 o'clock, and then from 6:30 until the Vikings pick will be on Fox Local. So you guys can stream us and or on YouTube as well, Fox 9 YouTube. So we'll be really busy on Thursday.
Draft begins 6 Central?
Yes.
So then 6:15 for the first pick, generally how it works.
Yep.
Draft's at 7.
Draft is at 7 Central.
Yes.
Okay, wow.
So 6:30 is when our show starts. So 7, we go up to 7 o'clock, and then the fun begins from 7 to 9 o'clock.
So would you say, if I set the over-under with the Minnesota Vikings selecting at 8:05 p.m., which way do you go?
The draft starts at 7 o'clock? That means the Bears aren't picking until 7:15. You know they're going to, 10 minutes.
Let's say 8:15. I set the over-under 8:15.
8:15. I feel like if they're drafting at 8:15, they're having to give up 11 and 23.
I'm saying, do you go earlier than 8:15 or later than 8:15? Draft's at 7?
Yeah. 7. They're 11. I'm going to have to go later.
What about you, Eric?
Earlier, yes.
Earlier?
Yeah. That means and to Ahmad's point, that means they're making a move.
Yeah. Do you have a preference, Mr. Ahmad Hicks, between, or are you feeling a trade up for a quarterback?
Not if it means giving up 11, 23, and future assets.
Okay, so is that your take, or is that, like if I were Kwesi, I wouldn't do that, because I've heard a lot of that lately, which is fine. Fans get a right to formulate opinions too.
Right.
But if that's what it takes, do you believe they'll do it?
Yeah. Because danged if you do, danged if you don't. I mean, it's just like, for Kwesi, it's like you're on the hot seat either or. It's like you give up a lot of assets and you get your guy and he pans out, or you don't give up a lot of assets, you miss your guy, and then you're out of a job in a couple of years. So if I'm Kwesi, I think you got to go up. But you can only give up your assets if you're getting your guy, like your guy that Kevin O'Connell did all the homework on. He's a quarterback guru, and he knows that within 2 to 3 years, we have our future here in Minnesota. If you don't have that and you're not certain of that, I don't see the point of giving up your assets. That's just my take.
So do you have a preference between Daniels, May, and McCarthy for this team with that guy, that coach, and why?
I'm going with the guy who's proven, Jaden Daniels, who's won big games, who's won the Heisman, who's consistently showed up since his freshman season at Arizona State University. And so I just think that that's a guy who, with given the type of talent, given a good team, and Kevin O'Connell, I think that he can take this Vikings offense to the next level, especially because of his dual threat ability and being able to run the ball and stay healthy while doing that. I know people love J.J. McCarthy, but like I like to say, he was surrounded by some of the best athletes ever in Michigan era playing that position. He was never asked to do a lot.
So was Jaden.
Exactly. He was, but Jaden also made a lot happen while he was there at LSU. He didn't have a lot his first year, that year that they beat Alabama. But then he came back the second year, had a little bit more talent, but they didn't live up to those expectations that second year. Whereas Drake May, you go back to his 2 years ago where he threw for 4,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. But in that season, he lost to Notre Dame. He lost to Clemson. He lost to West Virginia in the bowl game. So it's like losing big games, for Drake May, just very raw. A lot of potential for him, but are you really wanting to base your future on a guy that you need to develop for 2 to 3 years? Does Justin Jefferson want to wait on his future quarterback to develop for 2 to 3 years? I think that's what you're looking at in Drake May.
I don't know. Ask all the Packers receivers who waited for Aaron.
But who did they have, though?
I understand.
Right.
I understand.
You don't have that.
Same thing with Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Now, the Cardinals, man. I mean, these Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
You talk about being in the catbird seat. I mean, their phone's going to be ringing off the hook every single second, right up to that pick, probably up to the draft. They have 6 of the first 90 picks. What an awesome spot they are in, the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. Really good spot for them, especially with Kyler Murray there. All you need is a weapon for him, you like to think, and then, some offensive linemen to take that team over the top. But I like to think that they don't necessarily need a wide receiver. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a luxury, I think, but I'm pretty sure if they can get 2 more first-round picks or, some more draft capital, I think, because they have a lot of holes to fill on that team, not just that wide receiver.
Right.
So I do think that they will be very inclined to pick up the phone and see. Yeah. And I'm sure Kwesi will be calling.
I agree. And I'm really glad you said that, because I'm not hearing that a lot, and I haven't said it enough. Let's not forget, their head coach is a defensive-minded coach,
exactly,
and their defense was awful.
Exactly.
So therefore, 4-11, 4-6, that's kind of been the low-hanging fruit. I'm not really super hot on that. I'm kind of warm on it. But 4-11, look at the spot that puts you in with the defensive player.
Right, and you may miss a Marvin Harrison Jr., but you can have a Roman Odunze from Washington that you can go pick up later on in this draft. There are a ton of wide receivers that you can hit on later. You don't necessarily need a Marvin Harrison Jr., although that's a good luxury to have, especially with his dad being a Pro Football Hall of Famer. But I think you can hit a home run on wide receivers in the second or third round. So Gannon, I know he's a defensive guy. I'm pretty sure he would like to move back and get some more draft capital for his team.
What do you expect from the Suns beginning tomorrow night?
I expect Devin Booker to come out and shoot 8 to 10 shots in the first quarter. And
I've heard that about 5 times today.
Yes,
and
I expect him to be
completely
aggressive.
agree.
I expect him to be aggressive because he was being patient. He was trying to get his teammates involved, and his jump shot's too pure to just sit back and be passive. So I think he's going to be aggressive, but I think when he's aggressive, you take Bradley Beal out of the mix. KD's always going to get his. That's just like, all right, you don't even worry about him. With Devin Booker and KD getting theirs, then Bradley Beal's going to be that odd man out. And I think in order for the Suns to win, all 3 of those guys need 30 points.
Right. Now, what they did to Grayson Allen, I talked a lot about Grayson Allen last week. because in their previous 4 losses, Allen was horrible.
Yeah.
Like 4 of 29 from 3, 32% from the field. In all the victories against us, he's shooting 55%.
He was great.
Averaging like 4.5 made threes a game. So they took care of that early. I don't know what happened to it, whether it's the crowd.
No, it's playoff intensity.
Right.
More defense. In the regular season, it's
But Grayson was tripping. I'm saying it's like they had a hand in the face.
For sure.
But he was jittery and just off.
all those nerves, those lights are a little bit bigger at this time of year. And I think...
But he played at Duke.
Yeah, but this is the NBA now.
Right.
Playoffs are a little bit different than the NCAA tournament. And as Anthony Edwards said, the calls that they were getting during the regular season, they're not going to be able to get during the playoffs. Like, they're going to be able to hand check a little bit more, grab a little bit more jerseys, elbow you a little bit more. That's what you want to see in the playoffs. And with Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, and Rudy Gobert, these guys are defending at a relentless effort. I mean, they are making the Suns work for every single bucket.
Yeah.
That's exhausting when you don't have a bench because outside of Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal, you can't name 4 other players that are impactful players on the Suns team.
Right.
And that's not a good recipe to make a long run in the NBA playoffs for the Phoenix Suns.
Now, I said this last week, I think to Michael Grady and Jim Peterson, the TV guys, is I don't exactly know how to explain it, but I've just watched enough basketball and enough Kevin Durant to kind of feel like I can go with this take and I feel good about it.
I'm listening.
And I know he had 31, okay, but watch him at the end of the games after he has to play defense super hard during a game. A lot of he's been in the league a long time. A lot of foot problems, okay? And he does not give 100% the entire game because he's managing things for the right moments.
For sure.
He's not the first veteran to do that. I'm telling you right now that consistently, his defense against a spry 22-year-old, and they better give him help.
Oh, better.
This is not KD from 5 years ago who's going to block 5 shots in a game.
They don't have any help for Anthony Edwards.
But I think he's just showing a little more of his age defensively and with threes late in games when his legs get tired.
Oh, absolutely.
Than we've seen of late. And, hey, I mean, I've just started to watch him pretty closely the last couple of weeks, and I just noticed it that, like, he's different. He just doesn't
have that burst that he used to have.
Right.
He doesn't have that burst, but that's to be expected when you've had major injuries. You're a little bit older in your career, and then you have this young man, Anthony Edwards, wanting to prove to you that he's the face of the NBA.
Edwards was toying with it.
It's kind of hard. Like
the stop and go, the in and out, and out, and crossover, back up, hit 3.
It's like, imagine you playing basketball with your son. You know what to do. You know how to beat him, but physically you can't do it anymore. You can't go for 48 minutes anymore. That's the point. That's the case with Kevin Durant right now.
Right.
Like, he's like, look, I can go get you 25 on 10 to 16 shooting and, 8 or 9 rebounds, but I can't go defend AE and then go back and go post up Jaden McDaniels and go get you a fadeaway jump shot. Like, I can't do that consistently. Maybe one time, but not 3 times down the court.
But Beal's played a lot of games too.
He has. He's old. He's also older. I played against Bradley Beal in high school. So you're talking about me. I did. Yes.
He's from St. Louis area?
He's from St. Louis. Him and Jason Tatum went to the same high school. So he's 2 years younger than me.
Lord.
So so he's been hooping for a long time. So a long time. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards, he's like, come on, guys. This is my gym now. Like, welcome to my playground.
Yeah.
Like, I have energy to go all day.
Yeah.
You guys need a break in between games. I'm ready to go back to back. So that's what we're witnessing right now. This guy has all the firepower, man. He's gassed up this Timberwolves team. He's fun to watch, and he has everybody believing.
The Timberwolves bench, even when they were getting swept this year by the Suns.
Yeah.
And even off the prisoner of the moment of what we saw Saturday. With Naz Reid, Alexander Walker, just stop right there.
Right.
They're better.
Right.
Eric Gordon does one thing. He shoots.
That's it.
And it's either 20% or he hits 7 threes. Royce O'Neal does 1.5 things.
Who's that?
Right.
Yeah.
Royce O'Neal grabs rebounds, hits corner threes. Nas and Alexander Walker do multiple things.
Nas showing off the jelly the other day. The nice finger roll. Nikhil Alexander Walker defending and shooting the 3-point shot, plus getting to the lane and making his layups. That's what you want to see. Like you just did that little shoulder shimmy right there. That's how Minnesota Timberwolves fans are feeling right now watching this team.
Yeah.
Because they know how good they are. This depth, the energy that they play with. Oh, my God. Nordo, you feel it, I'm sure.
Absolutely. From an energy and atmosphere standpoint.
I don't know why he did that. He can't see you.
I'm trying to write the rap. Yeah. I'm sorry. But no.
No, you're fine, man.
From an energy and atmospheric standpoint, the route.
He wouldn't even have known if you weren't in the room. He just all of a sudden.
I was running to the bathroom.
Bro, that's the Magic Johnson of radio. You talk about a no-look pass. That was the greatest no-look pass in the history of 9 to noon because he can't see you. I do. Microphone's 3 feet away from you, headphones on. You're writing something, and he just finds James Worthy cutting to the basket, and it was good for 2. We're going to the line.
So I'm just hoping that I caught the pass effectively as we were talking about the atmosphere, the bench personality, which is better than the Phoenix Suns. And despite all the L's that they were taking in the regular season, what we saw Saturday in terms of a team that had a week off, a team that just in some basic ways just had to play better, I loved what I saw on Saturday.
He made a play.
He did.
Made a play.
He did.
Didn't know the ball was coming.
And he just hit the free throw.
Heads up.
3-point play.
And with this segment, with you, this elongated segment, with that 3-point play, we won. Let's do this more frequently, certainly like maybe next week or after the draft, something like that.
I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. But I just want to start having you around more, man. Out of sight, out of mind. And I apologize for that because every time you're in, we love it and it works.
I'm glad to be here. It's always a pleasure.
Good seeing you.
Good to see you too, Pete.
Ahmad Hicks, Fox 9.
Good to see you.
Fox 9 TV.
Good to hear from you.
Well, I can't wait for an opportunity to be on Fox 9 with Ahmad so he can ask me a question about like
maybe on Thursday?
Byron Murphy Jr.
Maybe Thursday?
And then I'm like, yeah, Byron Murphy Jr. had Byron Murphy, all right, 3-2, asked me about Mekhi Blackman. Yeah, good rookie year. I don't know, Randy Meyer, what do you think? It's like,
hey, is Keith Marler back there? Let's get his thoughts on it.
Yeah. It's like, it's quite honestly, Harrison Phillips is coming off the best season of his career. What could he do to be better? I don't know. Let's ask Jim Rich. Oh, wait. And then Ahmad be like, oh, it's past 11. He's in bed.
Hey, is Alex Kendall still here?
Yes, they're all still here. They're all still here.
Anybody want to do the Friday dance-off right now on a Thursday? I'm in.
Hell yeah.
I'm in. Love you very much, bud.
Love you too, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Ahmad Hicks, Fox 9, Chris Finch, coach of the Wolves. We started the show with Fincho. Play it back around the corner. You're listening to KFAN, your cash giving leader.
The Fan, along with BigDeck.com, they want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword happy. You could be happy if you won $1,000. The keyword's happy at KFAN. What a game one for the Minnesota Timberwolves over the weekend after that lopsided victory. What better way to start off a Monday 9 to noon than chat with Timberwolves coach Chris Finch? And so we like to replay that, bookend the show with it in a way. And PA got the conversation started simply enough. How you doing this morning, Coach?
Good morning, PA. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. Now, you've said multiple times here, a major goal this season was to skip the play-in games. That week off, I mean, it can just change everything, man, as we saw this weekend, not only with your team against a team that swept you during the regular season, but how about Dallas and the Clippers? I mean, the Mavs looked unbelievable a week ago and got handled by the Clippers, who didn't even have Kawhi. Those days off, man, they were pivotal.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Clippers had the added bonus to know who they were playing even before the week started. They kind of were locked in against each other, so you can really start. You can start your preparation even earlier if you think about it. You can try things in live game situations, not just in practice. But having that week off is invaluable. It really is, just mentally, physically, and then from preparation standpoint, you get to drill down on a lot of things. You can put in new stuff. I can't remember the last time we had 2 or 3, real practices back to back to back where you can just build things up like you do in training camp. It's a huge advantage of staying out of the play-in.
And I would imagine you can add to it from the mental game standpoint, from what we all witnessed on Saturday, where you're like, these 2 full practices to implement the plan. But nevertheless, the implementation of the plan has to be absorbed by those executing the plan. And the mental game Saturday, it's clear the players did their homework in exhaustive fashion up to that game, right?
Yeah, this always comes down to the players. The players' willingness and ability to go out and execute the game plan, have belief in what you're doing, be a part of it as you're putting it together, go through it, work out the finer points, and then be open to making all the right adjustments along the way. And they did a great job. They were locked in this week. It's going to be a long series. With one game is certainly not a series, but we actually we needed to play like that for a lot of reasons. We hadn't been playing like desperate basketball, and there's a reason for that. It's not all bad. I mean, we established an identity. We felt comfortable with who we are. We went out and played hard. We played really good at times. We played great. We played connected. We did a lot of things throughout this season. But we hadn't played with that chip on your shoulder, something to prove, desperation, us against the world mentality. And that's what we challenged the guys to do, to bring to, not just game one, but to the entire playoffs.
How, Chris, how do you get through to the players? It's just one win. You need three more without killing the mood. You know what I mean? Still more work to do, guys. That was awesome. Still more work to do, but you don't want to kill the mood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have to take confidence in the things you did well. But listen, Phoenix didn't come here to win game one. They came here to win one game.
Right.
And they get, with a win tomorrow, they're able to take control of the series. So game two is just as big as game one. And when, you have a young team and they're working their way through their playoff experiences, these are the things that you have to recognize. You have to guard against human nature. You have to guard against emotional letdowns. We know the building will be hopping. We know there'll be a ton of energy in there. We got to match it with our on-court play and our physicality and our desperation, just like we did the other night. And then we got to be ready to handle adjustments.
That the crowd, I'm glad you said that early in the conversation, Coach. The crowd, your fans. I mean, they absolutely played into the dominance Saturday, didn't they?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, they were phenomenal. They've been all season. Tim Conley said to me the other night he doesn't think he's ever heard a building louder. And he's been in the league a long time and been around a lot of different organizations and played in a lot of different playoff scenarios. And what I mean by that with the crowd, Chris, is like, okay, something good happens to you, then you get a defensive stop, and like the crowd comes in waves. Then you got somebody for them kicking the ball off their knee, then you hit a three. I mean, it's like a tidal wave of sound where the crowd just jumps the road team, and they were phenomenal with picking up on the nuance and just really doing their best to bury the Suns. That's what I meant by it. Yeah, to me, there was a play. It was a transition defense. We had turned the ball over. We came back. We had swarmed the ball. We got out the shooters. We ran them off, and then we had forced the turnover. But the crowd had reacted to that play in the middle of the play when we had kind of hustled back and cover up the three-point line. Even before we had generated the turnover, the crowd had erupted just to the mere fact that we had gotten back and hustled into a great defensive situation that looked like an opportunity that they were going to score easily on. And I think that's an example of what you're talking about.
Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. They handled Phoenix at Target Center Saturday, and 6:30 tomorrow evening at Target Center, game 2 of this playoff series. And off the time off, seriously, how fresh and alive were Anthony's legs on those threes and his stop and go and his defense? That time off acted as an absolute elixir, didn't it?
Well, yeah. We say time off, there's no games, but we had a really good week of practice. And he was able to be sharp. We put him through a lot of different scenarios. He did a great job of picking up his decision-making, less holding, more attacking, more decisive, creating for his teammates when they committed more than one defender to him. These were all things that, he had a great week of preparation and practice. But just mentally he was able to kind of lock in, understood what was going to happen, and be able to take control of that instead of that situation controlling him.
And the plays that you ran, man, there are so many plays that you run, specifically out of bound plays that I just love. But the plays you ran with Edwards penetrating with full intention to kick the ball to the corner where Rudy was there for the pick. What was the week like getting into the lab to craft things anew?
Well, we've got a great staff. We have a lot of smart people, a lot of smart basketball people on our staff. Everybody came in with ideas. We had an advantage of, having just played Phoenix in the last game of the season. So we were able to kind of take that experience and look for things and opportunities where we were able to kind of maybe, get some good offense. We've been struggling offensively against them all season long for one reason or another. And, our players, again, made the right plays. And that's what it comes down to. You got to make the right plays. You can't fight the game, even more so in the playoffs, because playoff defenses go to another level. They sell out for things. They decide not to guard certain people in an effort to execute their game plan. And everybody, stepped up at the right time and made the right play.
Excellent, in my estimation, at least. Excellent game from Towns. And, I loved when he did complain because he thought he got fouled. But then, bam, he quickly forgot about it and sprinted back on defense. I thought that was fantastic. What overall did you like?
Yeah, I thought he played a clean and mature game, very efficient. Got to the line 8 times. He was strong and punishing when he had the ball in and around the paint, used his body smart and under control. And, we have to continue to do it. I mean, the playoffs are going to be physical. We want a physical game. We invite a physical game. If you don't get the foul call because it's a physical game once in a while, just understand that that's how it's going to be. And overall, we got to find ways to take advantage of that. It's got to get back. Got to make the next play. We'd watched some edits of us complaining way too much, and we just needed to kind of, when you have a week to prepare, you can do these things.
Yeah.
You can kind of point out these things, and guys did a great job of just making the next play. Not just make the right play, but got to make the next play.
I love that. That's fantastic. Now, maybe the best defense by you guys defending the 3 we've seen all season. I mean, I'm not a best or worst guy, but it had to be an emphasis, right? Your guys' 3-point defense against them was terrific.
Well, they've been lighting us up from 3, and they've been doing a great job of getting a lot of good looks. And they got so much firepower on the 3-point line. So, our urgency to get out and close them down hadn't been there in some of the games we played. And of course, in the playoffs, if you don't have that urgency, you don't have a chance.
What just a couple more here, and thanks for the time. What are some things you liked overall about Jaden McDaniel's defense?
Well, great thing with Jaden is he's just so competitive every single time down. It's a new battle for him. He just keeps fighting, just keeps coming, just keeps staying in there. Whether you put him on, he never gets an easy matchup. He never complains about a matchup. He never complains about, having to, take the best guys all the time, and you can just move them from guy to guy when you need to. I thought his defense, was a tone setter on the ball, being able to pick up and just kind of fight through so many screens. That's what he's really good at. He's kind of long and slippery, and he can get through that stuff and keep pursuing and just still have a chance to bother any people at the rim.
Edwards on Beal, good size against good size, right? And Anthony, super spry. Bradley, very talented. But before the switches and picks, I thought Anthony did really good work on Bradley. Did you?
He did. He was ready for that matchup. After they had a little exchange the week before. So I think he found a little personal motivation there.
What do you expect differently from them, from Phoenix tomorrow night?
I expect them to really try to get off to a great start. That's been one of their secrets to their success all season long, and particularly against us. They're probably going to try to get out and be more aggressive in transition. Try to get Booker going early. That's what I would expect. Things we're going to have to be on alert for.
And lastly, from you guys, consistency, right? Defend, keep the turnovers down, continue to win the little things, which you did all day on Saturday. That's those would be a few for you guys, Chris.
Yeah, listen, we've been preaching this to our guys, really a lot down the stretch here. We've played a lot of big games. Big games are won by little plays, and that's just it. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to make the big one, the play that everyone remembers. The dagger 3 or whatever it might be. But the reality is these games are won by box outs, 50-50 balls, game plan execution, not fouling. The little things that people don't say, and don't show up because the talent level and the attention to detail is so high right now. And you just got to make these little plays.
Good luck tomorrow night. Thank you very much for the time. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, PA. Take care. Appreciate it.
That's Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch with PA to open the show after a resounding victory Game 1 at Target Center. Game 2 is tomorrow night, and early-ish game time. Tip-off shortly after 6:30 p.m. Barrero, I believe, is going to be on site at the Target Center, pumping you up for that, and then right into action at Target Center. So looking forward to Wolves-Suns Game 2. Final segment, 9 to noon.
I can't wait until tomorrow.
Thank you to everybody who continuously sends Vikings draft-related talkbacks to the free iHeartRadio app. Miller Lite Vikings Draft Party. It's just days away. It's on Thursday. It's draft week. And thank you to Pep's Draft House Pizza for all KFAN-related coverage. Here's today's talkback of the day.
Hey, PA, this is Eddie from Prior Lake. I think you got to give your guy Softy a call in Seattle and have him give you a dose of penicillin. I think he is actually a really good fit for the Vikings because he sits in the pocket, he doesn't run around too much. He kind of does exactly what Kirk does, and he throws bombs and he throws dimes. I know people say his accuracy is a little bit off, but he's great at those one-on-ones, and Addison and JJ can go get those.
Man, I like bombs. I like dimes. Thank you, Eddie in Prior Lake. A couple of tickets to the Thursday night draft party at U.S. Bank Stadium heading your way.
Eddie the Eagle opted to spread the verbal wings and soar, and that was terrific. Yeah, I like Michael Penix Jr. too. It's just, but it's this time of the year, the week up to the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday day of the draft. Just remember, with things that you see and or hear, and like little sneaky things falling out of the draft-related sky, it is subterfuge season, and it's absolutely at its hottest, thickest, and most humid these days up to the draft.
Yeah.
And Michael Penix Jr. is as polarizing as anybody in this draft because you look at one spot, you find it to be reliable. Well, you're going to have to trade from the second round into the first round to get him in the high 20s or get him like 30 or whatever. But then you see, so-and-so's interested in him. They may trade here and do this, and he may go in the teens.
Yeah.
McCarthy could be sliding the wrong way for whatever the reason because he seems to be the one, whether it's his age, the offense out of which he comes, or whatever, the consensus is you can't use him game 1, 2024. That this is an investment for maybe 2024, but years to come. Well, then you're going to get teams that, if that's accurate, then they're like, well, we want somebody for now. Like Denver might want somebody for now. The Las Vegas Raiders definitely need somebody for now. Minnesota Vikings, I don't believe, will use somebody for now. So I like Michael Penix Jr. I like them all.
I just wish, I wish, and you never get the right answer. What is the gap? Like through the eyes of KOC, what's truly the gap between what could cost next year's first moving up?
Agreed.
Versus what could be there at 13. I really wish I could see that. In the end, whoever they take, it's the guy they wanted, and they're excited to move forward with
I don't know what songs potentially can be of the parody variety for you that have the word killa in it.
Ooh.
But like Big Papa, Big Stoppa, something with the quarterback killa. I mean, the closer we get to it, Nick's dead, Penix Jr. dead, Keaton Slovis dead, Drake May not dead. So much to talk about. Wolves play tomorrow. It's all good in the hood. Thank you very much for listening. And Rise and Shine at 9 tomorrow for the 9 to noon presentation. I'm Paul Allen from the 651 Carpus Plus Studios. Here comes Nordo to put that QB killer wrap on the shelf.
Thanks to Casey's for bringing you the 9 to noon show wraps. Grab Casey's Rewards for deals on food and fuel, and of course that elite pizza as well. Stop into a Casey's today. 9 to noon, studio separated by glass. Raise your hand if you have something, like you're back in class. Ahmad hit me with the verbal no-look pass. I had to pull random of opinions out of my I was writing the rap, thinking, what rhymes with Dallas? Thinking of George Hallis and wonder about Alice. No malice, and I'm trying not to be callous. Little whiskey in that chalice Thursday at the Purple Palace. But hey, what if the draft goes wrong? I mean, we don't even have the rights to play the Sad Eyes song. Instead of a QB, it's a new school Kylie Wong. We'll fill your tank with undying hope, so stay strong. Lay off the bong. We're back tomorrow. Gotta be at Target Center for game 2. I gotta beg and borrow. What a week with everything going on. It flies by, so soak it in before it's all gone.
Good stuff. I know, right?
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.